Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Alondra Villarreal and Cassie Spazzali. That is a lot of vowels. They're back there on the ones and twos. We're off and running here on this Monday. We'll have Denton Day in hour number 2 at 2:30. Got to talk about my SEC picks against the spread. There's been a firing in the NFL in the last 10 minutes. The Saints and the Patriots did battle yesterday inside the Dome, and, of course, LSU in South Carolina. So lots and lots and lots to do. Let's crank it up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Tigers win on Saturday night. 20-10 was the final, and I think a lot of the reaction, at least a lot of the reaction that I got based on my Twitter interactions, the text messages I'm getting, were more so focused on the score of the game as opposed to how we got to that score. And that's reasonable. This is ultimately a zero-sum situation. You either win the game or you lose the game. They don't necessarily care how close or how far the score is apart. You play, and there's a score at the end. And a lot of folks were fixated on that. And if I am breaking this game down as a coach, I would discuss it one way. But I'm sitting here as a talk show host that is talking to a fan base, essentially. And so I feel like there's a different way to address this football game, and that's the way that I'm going to take it here. I'm ultimately kind of talking to the fan base and not the product on the field. This will be discussed very, very differently Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in LSU's ops than it is for me. But this is the way I felt exactly post-game. And it's the way I feel a day and a half later. I tell you all this all the time. There are plenty of occasions in my 9 years doing the post-game show where 30 minutes after that thing goes final, I'm talking and I feel one way, and then you see something different, or you find a stat, or you reassess maybe things without emotions, and things feel a little bit differently on Monday. That's not the case this time. I feel the exact same today as I did on Saturday night when I did the post-game show. 20 points is not a sufficient amount of points for LSU to score moving forward. It's not shocking that LSU only scored 20 points. I picked this as a 23-9 game. Like, I didn't think LSU was going to go out there and score 40. That's just not what they've been. I thought it was a good matchup. I thought they would win the game. But you understand that moving forward against Vanderbilt, who's like third in the country in scoring offense, and against Alabama, who has a quarterback playing as well as anybody in the Southeastern Conference, and we think that Oklahoma is going to have a good offense, although it wasn't on Saturday, and you feel like Texas A&M's playing great, and they're going to score. Like, the teams you play moving forward are going to score some points. 20 is probably not going to be enough. Probably not. So the immediate reaction, I think, for most people is to go, okay, 20 is not enough. And that's okay, but I'm going to add some nuance to it. And I think the offense did some really good stuff on Saturday. 20 points is not enough. I think the offense did some good stuff. Let me just go through the drives. I'll go through the drives, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Your first drive, you got the football and went 3 and out. It sucked. Terrible drive. 3 plays, no production. Your first play was a handoff from under center, got blown up in the backfield by Stewart, lost 4 yards. The first drive stunk, 3 and out. After that, you got handed the football in the red zone by a fumble, and you went 3 and field goal, and that stunk. But on that drive, you had Trey'Dez Green wide open on 3rd down, and Green and Nussmeier had a miscommunication. That's my belief, because that's an easy throw that Garrett's going to make 99 out of 100. Either he made a terrible throw, the 1 out of 100, or he and Trey'Dez Green didn't get on the same page. He thought, I think, Trey'Dez Green was going to sit down in the zone wide open like he was. Trey'Dez continued the route. The ball was behind him. It was dropped. But I thought the play call was good. I thought the read was good. And those two guys just were on the same page. But you got a field goal out of that. Those 2 drives weren't great. Then you drove the ball 71 yards on 13 plays, and Juwan Johnson reached the ball out and fumbled at the 3-inch line. Well, players got to do a better job there. You got to do a better job of ball security. But you did drive the ball down there 71 yards on 13 plays. The next drive, 6 plays, 57 yards, touchdown. Love it. The next drive, you punted. But then you have a drive right there before the end of the half, and you're moving the ball into field goal range. And I thought Matt Flynn had a great breakdown of this play on the morning show this morning. Nussmeier throws an interception to a wide open Kyle Parker. He sailed it over his head. Why did he sail it over his head? Probably because Juwan Johnson went the wrong way. Based on what Matt broke down this morning, it's a reasonable thing. They moved Juwan Johnson from one side of the formation to the other on Garrett's left. He had a pass protection obligation. That pass protection rusher did not come, so Johnson leaked out. He got in the way. He dragged a linebacker into the line of sight. Nussmeier made a bad throw, but Kyle Parker was wide open. Threw a pick. Okay, next drive. You got the ball at your own 2-yard line with a minute before the half, and you punt. I don't care about that drive. It was a punt drive from the start. You were pinned back, and there was no time left in the half. Okay, so you start the second half. 4 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Then the next drive, you go 83 yards, and Nuss throws a red zone pick on a terrible read. Just a ball that shouldn't have been thrown. He never saw the safety. Next drive, you go 3 and out, and then the final drive that mattered, 10 plays, 64 yards. You got first and goal at the 1-yard line. That's a pretty good drive. And then from the 1-yard line, you go 0 yards, -2, -2, and you kick a field goal. That sucks in a vacuum, but you realize at that point that a field goal is going to win you that game. So while I hated it, it's not the worst thing in the world because it moved it to 10. South Carolina wasn't going to get to 10. It was late in the ball game, and you had to be careful. But the point of going through all those drives is you see what killed the drives, and I have a hard time crushing the coaching staff for some of this stuff. I'm not going to crush the coaching staff because Tradez and Nuss are not on the same page on that play. You might say, well, their job is to coach those guys. Come on now. Gary Nussmeier's a 5th-year senior. Tradez Green is a 2nd-year player in this program. He was a focal point in the offense. He did some great things in the game. I need y'all to understand what page we're supposed to be on and be there. Then you fumble at the goal line. That's not the coach's fault. Don't stick the ball out at the 1-inch line. Then you go out and get a touchdown. Then Nuss either sailed it, Johnson's in the wrong spot. Like, the play call's good, and Parker's wide open on a 3rd down. You ought to be driving the ball in there to score. You did score 2 drives later after you had to basically take the air out of the ball at your own 2-yard line late in the half. Then you did go 83 yards, and you get into the red zone, and your quarterback makes a bad throw. And then you played it really safe at the end of the game. What I'm trying to say is LSU moved the ball on South Carolina 420 yards, and it is so not difficult for me to come up with like 2 things to do a little bit better. And you've got 30 points, 34 points on 420 yards of offense, and we're not cranky. Like, Chris Hilton drops a deep ball. He's wide open. The play call's good. Nuss gets the ball out there, relatively speaking, and Chris Hilton drops it. That's not on the coaches. Catch the ball. LSU's offense has not played well enough this year. Absolutely, positively. But, like, when you look at this game, if your takeaway is, well, you scored 20 points, that's not good enough. Like, I do think you need to go a little bit more deeply than that. I think we need to analyze this a little bit more closely than that. And if Juwan Johnson takes care of the ball, and you go a foot further on the last drive where you got inside the 1, had first and goal from the 1, or Nussmeier doesn't sail it, or they're not on the same, like, there's 14, 17 points, like, right there. I think it's a different conversation if you can't move the ball. I've seen bad teams. I've covered bad offenses. I've covered bad defenses. I've covered bad pitching staffs. I've covered bad basketball teams. There's some of the stuff that this offense does is not bad. Like, the conversation about this offense is not the same as the conversation about the defense 2 years ago. It's just not. This offense found a way to run the ball. They had 6 runs over 15 yards on Saturday night. They used the tight end. They were creative. Well, be more creative. Be more creative. Well, you went under center a few times and ran the ball. You got Jack Pyburn back out there at fullback and ran some power with him. You got Juwan Johnson going in the Wildcat and moved the football. You used Tradez Green. Harlem Berry got 3 early carries in the first quarter. Like, all these things are wrinkles. They're creative, and some of it worked. And you move the ball for 420 yards. So this is not an offense that's completely broken, that's completely hopeless. The scoreboard at the end of the game wasn't good enough. 20 points was good enough against South Carolina. It's not going to be good enough moving forward. Everybody knows that. I know that. You know that listening. Brian Kelly knows that. He said it in press conferences. Joe Sloan knows that. Garrett Nussmeier knows that. This is not a secret from anyone. This is not being stubborn. This is not Les Miles saying the engine's pretty stinking good. This is not a team offensively that is broken. And that was the consensus that I was getting on Twitter, from my group text messages, from text messages I was getting from buddies. Like, it was like, it's terrible. Offensive line can't block. Offense turning the ball over. Can't score in the red zone. Only 20 points. And I'm going, well, none of that is completely wrong. But it's not really hard to look at what we saw on Saturday and go, that's pretty close. It's pretty close. Now, South Carolina is not good. And we're going to talk about LSU's defense in the next segment. But they've got a good edge rusher. They've got some talent up front. They've been disruptive. They forced some turnovers. And you move the ball really up and down the field. It's just a couple of things that have got to go right to turn that into 34-10 with 420 yards of offense and going, that was better. So yes, in summation, like, if you keep screwing up and not being on the same page with your tight end and reach the ball out and turn it over in the red zone twice, I mean, you realize, if you consider the fact that ball got intercepted at the 1 yard line, the second Nussmeier interception, that you turned the ball over inside the one twice. Like, that's not like this defense 2 years ago that was just terrible at everything. That's actually functioning and then making a critical error. Failing to function on any level like the defense 2 years ago is not fixable. You can't fix it. Failing to execute a couple of different things is fixable. They can do that. I'm not sitting here telling you today, right now, that this team is going to be awesome on offense from now moving forward. I am not saying that. I'm saying that what we saw on Saturday was not a failure by the coaching staff, was not a disaster on offense. If you would have told me on Friday that they only scored 20 points, I would have been bummed out about it. And I'm a little bit bummed out about that they only scored 20 points. But there's more that goes into it than just that. And I think the offense showed some signs of making strides on Saturday. I love the Trades Green action. I love the fact that they ran the ball for chunk plays. I love the fact that they used some creativity. I love the fact that they moved the ball. Got to tighten it up in the red zone, because you can get away with it against South Carolina. You can get away with it against Florida. You can get away with it against Southeastern and Tech, and you can get away with it against Western Kentucky. But you may not even be able to get away with it against Arkansas, because you're not going to hold Arkansas to 10 points. And you already know you're not holding Bama to 10 points. I don't think you're holding Vanderbilt to 10 points. You're not holding A&M to 10 points. You're not holding Oklahoma to 10 points. I know what they did on Saturday. They'll be a healthier quarterback by the time you get to that game. You have to do more than you did, but it's not, all hope is not lost here. And the reason all hope is not lost is because you don't need this offense to be the 2019 or 2023 offense. You just need them to be good enough to be complementary. And that's because the group you've got on the other side of the ball is freaking awesome. We'll talk about the LSU defense when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. We live in a delivery world, right? You need something for your house, toiletries, groceries, you just get them delivered. You're hungry on a Friday night, you just get it delivered. You can get that with your car, too. Like, you don't ever have to set foot on the lot at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can go to the website and start your process at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. If you see something you want to test drive, let them know. They'll have one of their brand ambassadors, sales associates, come right over to you. It can be at office, it could be at the home, and they'll come in and say, hey, here's your keys. Let's go drive it around. If you decide, hey, I like this vehicle, they'll deliver it to you. E-contracts. You never have to set foot on the dealership lot. It's all types of convenience that are built into the process at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find that inventory at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Their airline in Piku. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Talk some Saints. This is Black and Gold fell to New England on Sunday afternoon in the Dome, but I want to stick with LSU here for the second consecutive segment. Tigers beat South Carolina 20-10. This is very similar, I think, to the conversations we were having after the win over Florida. And, of course, the fallout in that press conference when Michael Caldwell asked Brian Kelly about the ground game and the offense, and he kind of lost his composure there too a little bit and called the media spoiled. And what he went too far for that, and he apologized, and he knew it. But really, it was more so Michael Caldwell asked a reasonable question. He was speaking from the fans' perspective because that's who he's serving with his newscasts. And it was a question and a comment that a lot of people in the fan base shared. And I think Brian Kelly rejected that a little bit because ultimately you just want to win the game. And he was thrilled they did that, and he didn't want to think about the fact that you had to score more points and be better on offense down the road. Just wanted to celebrate that win. And I understand where both parties are coming from, and I think it was proper that Caldwell got an apology from Brian Kelly in that way. But here's the deal, like bigger picture, and that's why the frame conversation feels the same today as it did against Florida. Because here, in football, in baseball, in women's basketball, in a lot of different sports that have proven themselves to be among the elites in collegiate athletics, you get graded on a championship curve. And that's a tough thing. That doesn't happen in West Lafayette, Indiana, when Purdue wins a game 20-10. It doesn't happen in Berkeley when Cal beats somebody 20-10. It doesn't happen at Boston College. But it does happen here. It's the same way, nobody's going to throw a fit if the men's basketball team, finds a way to win by 6 against Northwestern State. Like, okay, whatever. because there's not a championship expectation around men's basketball around here. There's just not. I long for that day when it happens, but it's just not here right now. But there's a championship expectation around LSU, and the offense is being graded on that curve. And because of that, it's dominating the conversation. What we can certainly still do and should do is praise this defense, because you did go out there against a team whose quarterback is probably going to be a first-round pick and hold them to 10 points on what amounted to one busted play. One play. And you got to make the play, but it was one play. I'll say this, we can talk about both sides of this. South Carolina is a freaking mess on offense. They've got an athletic quarterback who does some freakish things. They can't find a running back. Then they found one that busted a 71-yard touchdown, and they didn't give him the ball again for 2 more quarters. They don't have elite wide receiver play. They don't have a go-to tight end that's a problem matchup-wise. Their offensive line is hurt and playing poorly and getting penalized. They're a mess. But LSU's defense is great. It's great. And you saw more of that in the game on Saturday. I thought all 3 levels were great. The best of the 3 was LSU's coverage group. I thought Halsey played awesome. That was a great read of his to go over the top and catch that interception. Awesome play. I thought DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland did a good job on their sides because they're going to get a lot of action, generally speaking. And then, for whatever reason, South Carolina, late in the game, when they were in it, down 7 points, decided to target Mansour Delane twice, and guess what? 0 for 2 with a crucial pass breakup on 4th down. It was 4th and 4, 6 minutes to go in the game. South Carolina's got a chance to go down there, get a touchdown, maybe go for 2 to take the lead. But it's 4th and 4. And the play that they draw up is a one-read hitch route at the sticks on Mansour Delane, who I think is playing the best coverage football in the country. That was a laughably silly decision by Mike Shula, and that's as kind as I can be. If I were being more realistic, I would say it was stupid. It was a stupid decision to throw at the best dude on LSU's side on that type of a route at that spot. And Delane just batted away easily. It was awesome. But you move up a couple levels to the LSU front. Jack Pyburn's stats in this game are not going to blow you away. 6 tackles, half a sack. But he was way more impactful than that. His Pro Football Focus grade isn't great in this game because he didn't finish quite as many plays. But he got back there and disrupted Sellers time and time and time again. And I've said that South Carolina's offense is a mess. I think their offensive coordinator is doing a terrible job. I think their offensive line is banged up. I think all of these things. But still, Lenora Sellers' ability to evade rushers and extend plays is as good as anybody in the country. And that's going to happen against LSU. It's going to happen against everybody because he's just that elusive. But you have to make him do that. You have to get him off schedule and get him moving around. And LSU did that. Blake Baker determined early in this game, okay, they got a lot of offensive linemen down. They started with 3 guys out. Another one went down in the first half. We're sending the horses. And they sent pressure on pressure on pressure on pressure. And it got back there time and time and time again. And I thought it looked fantastic. You had West Weeks with 9 tackles. Whit Weeks made 7 more. Perkins had 8. 6 of them were solo. Perkins had 2 tackles in the backfield. I thought that front and those linebackers did an awesome job. And you look at South Carolina's drive chart, and it was real pitiful. They fumbled on their first play. Then they went down and missed a field goal. Then they had the big play for the touchdown. And after the touchdown, which they scored right there at the end of the first quarter, just under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, punt, interception, punt, field goal, punt, turnover on downs, and those 2 were 4-play drives. So not even the turnovers on downs were 3 and outs, and then a 4th down and out. It was just a complete whitewashing by LSU's defense of this South Carolina team. And I've seen a lot of bad offenses in my time watching SEC football. Some of them have been purple and gold. A lot of them have been in other uniforms. And you still got to go out there and put the clamps on them. And LSU did. And that goes back to my point of last week, all week, just saying I trust this defense in that stadium. And that's what you saw on Saturday night. It wasn't a great environment. Wasn't a great crowd. 40% of it thinned out in the fourth quarter. Brian Kelly mentioned that in his press conference today. And that's just, another thing that we've got to discuss. But, it was the defense bringing its own lunch and making sure that South Carolina had a tough time, and they really, really did. Carolina, on third downs in the game, had a heck of a time. They were just 6 out of 16 for 38%. Their average distance to go on third down was 10 yards. And when they got into third and long, 3rd and 9+, they were 0 for 7 in this game. LSU forced a lot of third and longs, did not allow them. They were solid in the entirety of the game except for one long busted run. And you got to get that cleaned up and make sure it doesn't happen, because LSU's offense is not going to give you a ton of margin for error more often than not. But they didn't need a lot in this game. They just they did a great job start to finish. Blake Baker's doing an awesome job. And we're dominating the conversation with the offense. And that's fine, because you're talking about championships, and the offense is what's making this not look like a championship team. But all the while, the defense is just showing up and showing out. And as long as you don't put them on the field for 84 plays like you did against Ole Miss, they're going to be difficult to move the ball on. And South Carolina didn't move it, but for the one big play. And so that's it's great stuff from Blake Baker and his group, and that deserves to be talked about, because it was an awesome job by LSU. South Carolina was penalized in this game just an inordinate amount of times. I was sitting next to Chris Marler, who of course does Locked On Gamecocks. I was like, well, it's probably about time for a false start. Boom, false start. I mean, it was just like on cue. 13 penalties for 65 yards in this game. LSU was only penalized 5 times in the game. And South Carolina, last stat here that I wanted to bring up on my notes here. South Carolina in the red zone in this game, 0 for 0. They did not run a play in the LSU red zone the entire night. That is just really hard to do. It's really hard to keep a team out of the red zone for 4 quarters, especially when they've got the ball for 32 minutes of the game, which South Carolina did. They actually won time of possession, but they couldn't get the ball down inside the red zone. LSU's defense is really, really, really good. And they'll keep LSU in games, and they're going to give LSU a chance on Saturday against Vanderbilt. They'll give LSU a chance against Texas A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Like, they'll have a chance. It's just whether or not this offense can take that one and a half more steps they need to take to be a pretty complimentary football team, and you'll see what this team can accomplish. If you keep it on 20 points, it's going to be tough. But a lot of times, LSU is going to hold teams down to 10, and that's what they did on Saturday night against South Carolina. So that's our look at LSU and South Carolina. We'll do a little bit more on the Tigers at the top of hour number 2. Brian Kelly updated injuries. A lot of good news on that front for LSU. And we got a game time for Texas A&M. I'll actually just bring that to you right now. No need to hold that off. You've probably seen it. If not, it's always on LouisianaSports.net at noon on Mondays. But LSU and Texas A&M will kick off at 6:30 kickoff on ABC. It'll be the primetime spot. And if LSU can find somehow, some way to go to Nashville and beat Vanderbilt by 1 point. 1 point is all I ask. 11-10, 48-47, whatever. You beat them by 1 point. You come back home against Texas A&M, and it will be an unbelievable environment, and it won't be empty in the third quarter, and it will be an unbelievable football game that you can set up if you can take care of your business in Nashville, because A&M's going to be undefeated. They're not losing to Arkansas this coming week. They'll be a top 5 team. If LSU wins this game against Vanderbilt, you're talking about an LSU team that's 6-1, and you'll really have an incredible environment on your hands for LSU and A&M inside Tiger Stadium. We all want that, but they got to go out and handle their business on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock against Vanderbilt. But if you missed that, 6:30 ABC kickoff for LSU and A&M a week from Saturday. All right, Saints were in action yesterday. They lose to New England. There was some positive. There was, unfortunately, very much some negative. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Reminder to check out LouisianaSports.net. All your LSU, Saints, SEC football coverage, all in one place, all for free. Ross Jackson's got the Saints covered for you, and I'm there covering the LSU beat. News on injuries is up right now. Game time for LSU A&M is up right now. Ross has a look at the Pro Football Focus grades from the Saints, as well as his column from yesterday in the Dome, where he was suggesting the Saints need some more playmakers on their roster. Let's talk about the Saints and Patriots. 25-19, the final. Saints very much in this game. In fact, I texted our group late in the second half, like, I think the Saints are going to win this game. Like, they came up a little bit short against the Cardinals, came up a little bit short against the Niners. Were in the fight in Buffalo 2 weeks ago, and I just felt like maybe this is the close one they actually get to the finish line from behind. And they didn't get there. And there are a lot of aspects of this game that are important to look at. I thought the Saints did a decent job in pass protection up front in the game. I thought Spencer Rattler did some pretty good things. He completed 20 out of 26 for 227 yards. The yards per attempt was up in this game for him. I thought they fought hard. Blake Grupe didn't miss a field goal in this game, which is worth mentioning. And all that's fine. But to me, like, as I'm sitting there watching, there was one aspect that really irked me and I think cost them this game. Yeah, Juwan Johnson, don't fumble. Like, that's a big deal. But that's one play. This was the entirety of the game, and it irked me that the Saints, against a team that has an okay receiving core, like, we know Kayshawn. Is he one of the elite wide receivers in the NFL? No. Demario Douglas, Mac Hollins, like Stephon Diggs, okay, good player. Hunter Henry at tight end, like Austin Hooper at tight end. Like, it's not a team that's just, this is not Jamar Chase and T. Higgins out there. This is a very average receiving core that the Patriots trotted out there. And they torched the Saints coverage guys all day to me. And so I'm watching and I'm seeing that. And I'm like, they're not covering. Cover somebody. Make a play on the ball. I didn't see it. And so I was very curious what the Pro Football Focus grades would be in coverage, because as I've said, like, sometimes it tells the story that I think I see and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm curious how it lines up. And I watched that game, and the one takeaway was like, they're not covering anybody. You go to the Pro Football Focus grades. Quincy Riley, 29 coverage snaps. Coverage grade, 27.6. He had a penalty. He allowed 2 catches. Not good. 27.6. Kool-Aid McKinstry, 35 coverage snaps. His grade, 35.6. They targeted him 5 times. He gave up 5 receptions for 83 yards. Unacceptable. Jonas Sanker, who's been great this year, 31 coverage snaps. Coverage grade, 35.7. Gave up a catch for 53 yards. Justin Reed, 35 coverage snaps. 57.5. Gave up a target on his own, a catch on his only target. Alontae Taylor was targeted 7 times. He gave up 5 catches. Now, they weren't long. The long was only 11. But the point being here is that the Saints gave up 17 out of 23 passing. They had 2 interference penalties, and the Saints were not credited with a pass breakup in the game. It's frustrating in this game to have that happen because it contributed to you losing. But the bigger picture thing is that, like, Quincy Riley, first-year player. Kool-Aid, second-year player. Jonas Sanker, first-year player. Justin Reed, first year on your team. Alontae Taylor on his rookie deal. Jordan Howden. Like, these are the guys who are all grading out literally under 60 by Pro Football Focus in coverage, and these are the young pillars that your secondary is supposed to be built around, and they just didn't play well yesterday against a very, very average receiving core. Kayshon Boutte should not be wrecking your secondary. He did. This is not Ole Miss 2020 around here. This is the NFL. We know Kayshon's a really good player from his college days. He's pretty average NFL dude out there. And he torched you. And these are the guys you're counting on to be the next iteration of your secondary, and none of them were very good on Saturday. And that is a bummer in a big, big way for New Orleans. Now, again, there was some stuff that was positive. I thought Rattler is continuing to make very, very small strides. He's not regressing. He's not breaking out, but he's getting a little bit better. He's looking a little bit more comfortable. And I thought, for the most part, he did a pretty good job. I thought the running game let him down a little bit, quite frankly, last night. Because you felt like you had a chance to run the football a little bit. You'd been doing that through a lot of September. You're getting healthier on the offensive line. And Kamara, 10 carries for 31, long of 7. Kendre, 8 carries for 21, long of 4 on 8 carries. And then Taysom had the 1-yard touchdown. But your running backs gave you 18 carries for 52 yards with a long of 7. That's just not enough running game to help out Spencer Rattler enough. It's not enough running game to help him out enough. Olave's got to catch the ball a little bit better. He made some plays. He had 6 catches for 98 yards, had a 53-yarder. Like, he did make some plays, but a couple balls that hit his hands that I'd like to see him catch, candidly. Shaheed never got going, long of 17 for him on 4 catches. Cooks had the one big play for 21 yards to get a first down. That was a nice play. But Juwan Johnson with the crucial mistake. It was so close on the replay. Thought it could have gone either way. Would have liked it to go on the Saints' way. Didn't. But it's just a okay offensive effort, and I don't pin it on the quarterback. But I thought they were going to have a chance to win the game, and they just could not get it done on Sunday in the Dome. This is a spot where you thought you had a chance to get a couple wins from the Patriots a little bit better than you thought, and it didn't work out that way. So now you look up, and the Saints are 1-5 on the season. You play 3 of your next 4 on the road, at Chicago, then home the Buccaneers, who are really good. Then you're at the Rams and at the Panthers. These next 3 weeks are going to be really dicey for the Saints. I mean, we're working this thing in segments. You're trying to see improvement game over game, but it's going to get dicey here. At the Bears, who are playing a little bit better, we'll see what they do tonight. They've won 2 straight. The Bucs look really good, and they're coming into the Dome. And then you go play the Rams. The Saints are not winning that game. And then at the Panthers, who knows? But 3 of the next 4 on the road at 1-5 is a tough spot to be in, and the trade deadline is approaching. And I think a lot of what we're going to talk about with the Saints moving forward is what assets do the Saints have that other teams might covet, that might be able to give you some draft capital to help build this thing. Because there's just not a lot that I'm looking at on that roster that I have to simply must build around. I'm not in a hurry to move your 2 tackles. I'm not in a hurry to move your center. I'm not in a hurry to move Shaheed. I'm not in a hurry to move some of your first-year players like Jonas Sanker. But just about everybody's going to be essentially available, and you got to see what you can move, because this looks and feels like this 1-5 is going to end up in 2-7, and then at that point after the bye, you've still got some games that are going to be really tough to win. It's going to be hard to go to Tampa and win. Going to Atlanta, we'll see. But there are some games that are winnable. You're at the Titans, who just fired their coach. You got the Jets coming in, who are just atrocious. The Saints may have dodged a huge bullet with Aaron Glenn, because he looks overmatched, both on the product they're putting out on the field and the decisions that he's making week in and week out. You got a home game against the Panthers. You're at the Dolphins, who are in turmoil. There's some stuff on the back end that's a little bit promising, but the next 3 weeks don't figure to be great, and that's what's leading right up to the trade deadline. So disappointing that the Saints couldn't find a way to finish it, but if you're trying to be a little bit sunshine and roses, they're doing some good things. They're just not doing enough to win games. They're competitive. They're not getting dusted week in and week out like you thought they might, but predictable that their record would be kind of where it is sitting there right now. We'll see how things move forward there in New Orleans, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Saints on tomorrow's show. All right, we'll step aside when we come back. I want to do 2 different things. One of them, LSU baseball, did some things on the practice field at Alec Box Stadium over the weekend. I want to briefly discuss that, as well as a big picture baseball issue that we'll get to as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll close out hour number 1 when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Closing down the hour here, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us. A little bit of different schedule every Monday here for those that hadn't quite caught on 6 games into the season. Now, when Brian Kelly has his press conferences on Monday, the crew at Live at Lunch does crank up at 10 o'clock. They break there at about 11:40 for the Brian Kelly press conference, come back and close out their show. So on football Mondays, moving into LSU game weeks, got the crew from OTB at 7 to 10, then 10 to 1 with a break in the middle at 11:40 to about 12:30 for Live at Lunch, and then regularly scheduled in the afternoon 1 to 3 right here on the Hunt Palmer Show, and then 3 to 6 Matt on AFR. So every week, Brian Kelly's press conference right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. All right, Alondra, you're in the press box on Saturday. I was watching the Cubs lose on Saturday. How would you assess my behavior in the press box, which is a working environment, not a cheering environment? How would you say I behaved myself?
I would say that I was stressed watching you. I was like, this man done turned his cap backwards. He's got the rally cap going.
I tried. I was giving him everything I had.
Yeah. And I felt for you. I really did.
The same way, so I was watching the Cubs. My mom was in town last week because Myers had surgery, so she was with him during the day. Yeah. And they watched me watch a couple of Cubs playoff games. And I don't yell and scream profanity, and I don't throw anything, but I sit there in relative silence.
Right.
And I'll start pacing. And so I didn't even realize that I was putting off this vibe. And it was a day that the Cubs weren't playing. And Mom was like, yeah, watching you watch the Cubs is way too intense for me. I was like, So you would think that if you're watching someone watch a game and you have a reaction, then that they're going crazy. Right. I was just getting the reaction because I was just not interacting with any other humans and just staring at the TV.
The tension.
I had one visceral reaction where I think I did say a 4-letter word. It was when the Cubs were down 1, and it was getting a little bit late, and the leadoff man for the Brewers, the 9-hole hitter, was leading off an inning. He's the worst hitter on their team, and he hit a routine ground ball to the Gold Glove shortstop Dansby Swanson. He fielded it perfectly,
he did.
and then threw it over the first baseman's head.
Didn't set his feet.
And I just freaked out.
Yeah.
It didn't cost us. The next guy had to do a double play, but I can't have my best defensive player just half-assing a throw across the diamond in the most important game of the season, and I just freaked out.
That was the one time I heard you have an actual visceral
I
reaction.
jumped back and just freaked. Yeah, I was in my Cubs hat. It was a bad deal, and I told you this off the air, but I was so curious on Saturday morning when I woke up because my game day routine post game I do the show, and then I have a column to write for LouisianaSports.net, and I get home, and it's usually really late for night games, usually 1 a.m, and I pour a drink and sit in my kitchen by myself and just decompress from a long day. It's my house is dark and quiet, and I just sit there and enjoy that little. And I was like, there are 4 possible outcomes for that part of this day. Either they could have both lost, which I know what that's going to feel like. They could have both won, which I know what that's going to feel like. Or LSU wins, Cubs lose, which happened. Or Cubs win, LSU loses. And I was curious how that beverage at 2 a.m. was going to feel. And I'll tell you, LSU got a big win, beat South Carolina. Cubs lose, season's over. I was still really sad. The LSU win did not help me at all.
I think the Cubs loss just stung so much more because they had a chance to win it, and there are 5 teams left at that point. Right,
5 teams left, and you got a chance to eliminate one of them in one game, and you've won 2 in a row. And I'm curious still how it would have felt if the Cubs won and LSU lost, because I still feel like I might have been a little bit sad.
Not as much, though.
But I guess this is what I come back to. I feel like on Saturday morning, I felt like the Cubs had a better chance to win the World Series than LSU does to go play for the national championship.
Right.
It's just the way I felt. I might be wrong. The LSU might get hot on offense and start cooking. But that's the way I felt on Saturday morning. And so the fact that the team that I thought had the better chance didn't get it done, that made me sad.
I also just don't feel like LSU's win was so...
It was an ugly game.
Right, exactly. It wasn't so great that it could take away from the loss that the Cubs had. I did walk into your office earlier to ask you if you needed anything for today, and you weren't there. And I just see the big-ass W flag, or the flag on your wall, and I was like, oh, man.
Very sad.
Tough
sad
times.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good year. They had a pretty good year, but came up one short. And I will tell you this. I freaking hate the Brewers. Hate the Brewers.
Taylor told us that you think that they're cheating.
It was the only logical explanation, because when you have a team with no good players that wins 50 games in a row like they did, I have to assume cheating.
No.
And let's see how the Brewers do at Wrigley. Got smashed. Then they go to their home field, play great.
Win.
You tell me.
Okay.
Tell me what's going on there.
Look, you don't have to tempt
and
me
I
with
was
a conspiracy.
I will say I texted someone at LSU because Jacob Mizorowski signed at LSU and then didn't come. And then he pitched 3 innings for the Brewers. Texted somebody at LSU, I was like, this Mizorowski guy. He spurns my school, and then he destroys the Cubs. And then Bryce Terang hit a home run in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
He signed at LSU and didn't show up.
Mizorowski.
Now, that was in the Maneri era,
miserable.
but the Miz, it was awful. So these 2 guys who spurned my alma mater then go on to destroy my professional team in the process. Those guys will not be invited to any Palmer family gatherings, any birthday parties in the near future. Speaking of LSU baseball, I'll squeeze this in. We got 2 minutes. I have not seen a lot of what's going on the first weekend of fall practice, but I do have one very, very tiny report. They're working Braden Simpson, the High Point transfer, at first base. He played a few different infield spots at High Point. That, to me, is an indication that it's very likely that Trent Caraway, the Oregon State transfer, is the third baseman. I thought that he and Simpson would probably compete at third, and the person who didn't win that job would have a chance at second, first, DH. But the fact that he's working at first base would suggest to me, when I'm talking about Simpson working at first base, that would suggest to me that Caraway is the favorite to be the third baseman. He was, of course, third baseman at Oregon State last year. Had a pretty mediocre season and then hit 6 home runs in the postseason, including 5 in the regional. The 6 home runs in a single postseason, the most in the history of Oregon State baseball. That was heck of a June for Trent Caraway, but he's trying to put together an entire season. We've seen some transfers come in to LSU and really elevate their offensive games. We'll see if Caraway can do that, but it looks like he's the earliest it can be, in fact. 1 weekend into fall ball, the early guy to look for at third base, and maybe Simpson gets a look there at first base. He'll be in competition with John Pearson, with Zach York from Grand Canyon. I think that Seth Dardar will have a chance there as well. And kind of look at second base with some of those guys too. So very, very early. There are a lot of moving pieces. Shortstops obviously settled with Milam, but I was curious to see how they would split some reps early at first and third. It looks like Trent Caraway is that guy at third base. In October. It's early. That's a brief look at baseball. We'll jump back into football after Sports Center. We'll talk about my SEC picks against the spread and what's going on in the Southeastern Conference. So come back with us for hour number 2, a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. Seguin at Perkins, an awesome spot to go hang out and enjoy some indoor golf. They've got great simulators that are set up in private rooms with comfortable seating, television. They've got beer, wine. Go hang out, hit some golf shots. You can play Pebble Beach. You can play Cypress Point, TPC Sawgrass. You think you can hit the ball on the island green? Bet your buddy's in there if you can do it. You can have a whole crew there. They've got memberships available as well that get you up to 7 hours for free every single month. If you're a member, you can get corporate memberships so you can entertain clients. Great place to hang out on football Sundays, on Friday nights to enjoy the evening and blow off a little bit of steam, hit some golf shots, and just have some fun. I mentioned it's right there on Seguin at Perkins. It's Swing Golf Club. You don't have to be a member to go. You can book a tee time and use that bay whenever you would like. It's Swing Easy Golf Club, Seguin's at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Sean Ryder with breaking NFL news. The Titans have fired head coach Brian Callahan. Tennessee is 1-5 and coming off a double-digit loss to the Raiders yesterday in Las Vegas. It's a Monday Night Football doubleheader, starting with the 4-1 Bills taking on the 2-2 Falcons in Atlanta. And on ESPN TV and the app at 7:15 Eastern. The Bears battle the Commanders. You can watch it on ABC at 8:15 Eastern. Baseball postseason continuing today. Game 2 of the ALCS in Toronto. Blue Jays send rookie sensation Trey Savage to the mound. Mariners counter with big righty Lucas Gilbert. Seattle manager Dan Wilson.
You know, again, just seeing how he feels, and you know, I think the outing the other night in the 15-inning game was really a good side day for him, and he, you know, the way we're looking at it is he took a side session in the game with 40, you know, plus thousand people there. You know, he's ready to go. He's excited. He wants the ball.
Game 2 on ESPN Radio and the app. Coverage starting at 4:30 Eastern. We also have Game 1 NLCS tonight, Brewers and Dodgers.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the Eagles and Lions both suffered losses in Week 6. So who will be the #1 team on my power rankings? It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Got some good news for you. I mentioned this on my Twitter last week, but really excited to announce that I'm bringing back sports trivia. You'll know for like 10 years, I hosted sports trivia every Tuesday night at Pluckers. When Pluckers decided to close its doors, made a quick move over to Pizza by Roan's. We decided we're going to restart trivia starting tomorrow. So if you're looking for something to do, just highly recommend trying to come hang out with us. We're going to be at Court to Table, which is on Burbank, new establishment. You probably have heard of it. We've talked about it a lot on these airwaves, but it's an incredible setup. Last week was my first time there. They've got pickleball courts. They've got an awesome outdoor area that's great for young kids, great for folks to unwind and grab a drink. Got some life-size Jenga out there and some comfortable seating. Then you've got the bar area that's got tables and chairs and televisions, and that's where we'll be indoors, so you can get some drinks, get some awesome food over there at Court to Table, and we'll be playing sports trivia at 8 o'clock. You can win gift cards, hang out, have some drinks. You don't have to play pickleball. You can play pickleball. They've got cornhole set up as well. Going to have some great music, and for those that came over the years, it's going to be just like our original setup over at Pluckers. I've got a microphone. They do have televisions. Like, it should be a really, really fun setup there at Court to Table. So if you're looking for something to do on Tuesdays moving forward every week at 8 o'clock, come on by and see us. We'll be playing some sports trivia at Court to Table, and very, very excited to bring that back starting tomorrow. All right, let's kick off hour number 2. Y'all know every Friday I make my SEC picks against the spread, and then on Monday we make fun of those awful picks. It's what we're doing every Monday, and we'll do it again today. I had Alabama minus 2.5. That did hit. I had Ole Miss minus 31.5. They won by 3. That wasn't even close. I had Oklahoma easily covering the 1.5 against Texas. They were dogs. They got crushed. That one didn't cover as well. I had Tennessee laying 11.5 against Arkansas. That one did not hit. I had Texas A&M minus 7.5. That did get home. And then I had Auburn plus 3.5. I got Auburn plus 3.5, and they are about to go up 17-0. And then they don't. And they don't cover. the 3.5. So it was a 2-4 week for me. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2-4 week for me. That brings my season-long total against the spread to, I've got it written down right here. Season-long against the spread, 24-35 for your boy. So not great. Also not really that important. What happens on the field is important. So let's talk a little bit about that. I want to start with Auburn and Georgia. We were sitting in the press box, and look, trust me, I got LSU South Carolina going on in front of me. I'm literally there. It's live, and I'm covering the game, and I got the Cubs on my laptop. So my ability to monitor Auburn, Georgia is almost zero. But I'm sitting next to Marler, and he's monitoring it, and Twitter is all over the place talking about it. And it appeared, based on my secondhand knowledge from Twitter and Marler, that like things were off the rails. Well, I took a good long look at it Saturday night and again on Sunday morning. Things were seriously off the rails. You got Kirby Smart running down the sideline, calling timeout. Not. Yes, he was. And then he says he's clapping. And no, he was calling timeout. And then he goes to clap. And then they just like give him a do-over. I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. I just think he pulled a fast one on him. And I did struggle a little bit with Kirby's responsibility here. Is he just supposed to play trial attorney where you just do whatever it takes to get the win? You don't care if you're being ethical or you're not. You're just doing whatever it takes to plant that seed of doubt and get your way? Or does he have some sort of sportsmanlike code to live up to? I don't know the answer to that. But he pulled a fast one on him either way. And they bought it. And I'll say this. I thought Jackson Arnold scored. Like, I'm sure you've seen the replay by now. I thought he scored. And so it was just, it's when you couple that with what happened with the trick play at Oklahoma for Auburn 2 weeks ago, where the SEC told teams don't be deceptive with your trick plays, and Oklahoma did the most deceptive thing and then scored a touchdown on it in front of everyone, and it wasn't called. You've got beef if you're Auburn. You've got beef. Now look, it is going to take a lot for me to come to John Cohen's defense. I don't like John Cohen. I don't like the way he handled himself as Mississippi State's baseball coach. I don't like the way I just didn't like him there. I thought his teams did things that I didn't agree with. I thought you threw at Mason Katz's head. I thought your base coaches were unethical with some of the things that they did and said. I did not like the way John Cohen ran his baseball program at Mississippi State. So I don't like him. I don't know John Cohen. Never met John Cohen. Probably won't. But the things that I have encountered with him in the past, I have a negative feeling and reaction toward him. And so you look at the way he handled himself before halftime. Sorry, I got beef with that. You're the athletic director. You're not in the arena. You're not a player. You're not a coach. You don't need to be on the field screaming at officials at halftime. That's not your job. So call that bias by me against John Cohen for things that happened literally 12 years ago. Fine. I'm fine with that. But he needs to chill out. If Hugh Freeze wants to blow a gasket, he's the coach. He probably shouldn't, but he can. The AD's got to be a little bit more professional than that. I didn't like that. But I thought his team got jobbed. And I thought it was impressive that Georgia shut Auburn down in the second half. Once they got down 10-0, scored 20 in a row, I thought that was impressive. But I also think that Georgia has some significant flaws. Like, they only scored 20 points. They're not doing a lot to be disruptive in the backfield defensively. Like, they're not a great team. I'm not confident that A&M is not really, really good. There will be a segment tomorrow where I talk about this more in detail, so I'm not going to blow the whole thing. I don't think A&M is a juggernaut this year by any stretch right now. I think they're a threat. I think they are a threat. And Florida got some things going offensively in the first quarter and scored that early touchdown, and they got another one. And then they didn't really move the ball in the second half, and A&M just kept handing it off, and they just bludgeoned them late in the game. Ended up running the ball 42 times in this game for 183 yards. And Marcel Reed did enough, 234 yards in the air. You put it all together, and they double up Florida. Outscored them 13-3 in the second half to win that game. They're good. They're 6-0. They're 3-0 in the league. They have a favorable schedule, I would suggest, and they're taking advantage of that. And I think they'll go beat Arkansas this week, and that could set up just a monster game between LSU and Texas A&M in 2 weeks. But Texas A&M right now is a significant threat to win the Southeastern Conference and to be a bye team in the postseason to go have a chance to make a run at this thing. I do believe that. They're dominating bad teams, which is what you should do if you're really good. The next big story, I guess, is Texas-Oklahoma. If you watched this game, I know a lot of people were on campus and didn't. I watched a lot of it before my show went on. It was playing in the tent at our tailgate at LSU Sports Properties. Mateer looked very, very, very much not healthy. Like, not only was he bleeding out, he has a surgically repaired thumb. For those that know he was hurt, but what he has surgically, that would be incorrect, surgically repaired thumb on his right hand, and he was bleeding profusely out of it and wiping blood on his pants, and then trying to go out there and play quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions. And Texas realized that, like, Mateer can't throw. He completed 20 out of 38. He was almost 50% in the game, and he threw 3 picks. Texas wasn't very good on offense, but their defense had Oklahoma just on skates, so they just kind of played ball control, and they won the second half 20-0, just playing ball control. They ran it 35 times, not anything special, didn't have a rushing touchdown, and Arch kind of dink and dunked it, 21 for 27 for 166, but Texas was playing with the understanding that Oklahoma had no chance to throw the ball. So what does that mean? You take the run away, 30 carries for 48 yards for Oklahoma on the ground. That's 1.6 yards per carry for OU. There's no way you're going to win doing that. So I don't think – Texas talked a lot of trash after the game. Their social media account was throwing barbs at Oklahoma, saying they were an imposter for being a good football team. Arch is, putting the hat on in the student section. Sark saying a lot of people talked S-word about this team and whatever. They weren't great, but Oklahoma didn't have another option because Mateer was hurt, and it just didn't look very good to me. So we'll see what comes of that. The Ole Miss, just an all-time atrocious effort by them at home. Washington State gave up 59 to North Texas and 59 to Washington this year, and Ole Miss is losing that game in the second half. They give up a long touchdown run to fall behind. They do enough to win 24-21, but not a very good effort by Ole Miss. They're 6-0 though, and they get out alive. Then I guess the last one here, Alabama and Missouri. Just classic Missouri, I think, for me, for this program. Missouri is good. They're not elite. They're not great. They're not a threat to win the league or make the playoff or be a team that achieves much of anything. Their schedule is remarkably easy, but you got to beat somebody of importance, and they just don't really do that. So I think they'll lose 2 more games. They're at Auburn. They're at Vanderbilt. They play A&M in a game I don't think they'll win. They got Mississippi State. They're at Oklahoma and at Arkansas. I think they'll slip up 2 more times. They'll be another 9-win team. They'll go take a bowl game seriously. They'll win 10 games, and they won't really accomplish anything. That is where Eli Drinkwitz has this program. He's elevated them to that point. Missouri doesn't just fall out of bed and get to that point. But to me, they're just not a threat to be a championship-level team. They've got a talented running back. They've got a talented quarterback who made some mistakes on Saturday. They got an okay defense, and they're just not going to beat great teams. They're not going to be a playoff team. Probably 9-3 for Eli Drinkwitz when you've got a really, really manageable schedule. So that's my look around the Southeastern Conference. Another losing gambling week, another fascinating weekend in the Southeastern Conference. My power rankings will come your way at the bottom of the hour 2 on Wednesday. But I want to talk a little bit about the SEC and kind of the hierarchy and where things are headed on tomorrow's show. So we'll do that when that time comes. We still got 45 minutes to go. Denton Day is going to be with us in 15 minutes. We'll switch back to LSU football when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Hurricane season looks like it's coming to an end. Obviously, October still is in hurricane season, and we're ever vigilant around here. But hopefully, this will finish another quiet hurricane year, and that's great. But your renewal is probably coming up on January 1st. There's a good chance of that if you're a business owner. If that's the case, right now is the time to start making sure that renewal goes smoothly. And if you want a second set of eyeballs on your insurance program, let the Highland Insurance Group do it for free. They will audit your current program, make sure you have the right coverages, the right lines of coverage that don't have those pesky little those pesky little clauses in them that might be exclusions for coverage that you might need, but you don't know because you hadn't looked at it. The Highland Insurance Group will do it. And they'll make sure when that renewal comes that your insurance program is placed in the right spot at the right price with the right coverage. That's the most important thing in insurance, and the Highland Insurance Group will do that for you. Jonathan Carver and his team are great to work with. Give them a call. They're here in the Baton Rouge area. Check them out online at highlandig.com. highlandig.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Gin Blossoms.
I'm so proud.
You can't get the 90s by me. Come on.
You one time said Vertical Horizon was Matchbox 20.
Yeah, but they kind of are. It's kind of the same.
This is me clapping for you. You can't hear it, but you
Yeah,
can
but
see
it's just
it.
a little time out there. Good. Yeah. Thanks, Kirby. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Always looking for the support. All right, let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier. Not his best day on Saturday night, but also made some plays, especially with his feet. I love the sound of the crowd when he runs. It's just a bunch of people who have been frustrated for a year and a half that are so happy when he tucks it and actually does run and get some yards. Brian Kelly talked about Garrett Nussmeier a couple times after the game. The first was just kind of on his overall play against South Carolina.
Yeah, I thought he was a lot more aggressive. I thought he had that kind of demeanor that you're looking for in your quarterback. We want to clean up some things, obviously, the mishandled snaps, and, we can't turn the ball over down there. But he's competing his tail off for us.
I don't disagree with that. I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to play hard. Is it perfect? No. Is he taking a big step up this year? No. I tried to fight back on the narrative all summer that just because Joe in his 5th year and a 2nd year as a starter took a huge jump, and just because Jaden went from a 4th year to a 5th year player and took a huge jump didn't mean that Garrett Nussmeier was just ticketed to win the Heisman Trophy. I think he gives you a chance to win more often than not. I think if you give him some complementary pieces around him, he can really function the offense well. Unfortunately, he just hasn't had much of a running game for 2 years. And he's been hurt some this year, and that's hurt him. And then his offensive line has had some issues this year, and that's hurt him. And he's made some bad decisions this year, and he made some bad decisions in the game. We'll talk about that in a second. But to go back to the scrambling, he had a long of his career of 21 yards, tucked it and ran. And Brian Kelly talked about his decisiveness in doing that a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I mean, obviously, running for a first down, being, I think – in a mindset that he was going to do whatever was necessary for us to continue to move the chain. So it was great to see that, and he knows that he's got to continue to do that.
I liked Will Campbell after the game on Sunday, Patriots Saints, talking about how Garrett Nussmeier is a dog and he's a leader and he wants so badly to bring a championship to LSU and I think you get that from Garrett Nussmeier. He got up in pain a couple times on Saturday. He got hit hard a couple of times. South Carolina's got some good pass rushers. Dylan Stewart on the edge is really, really difficult. And, you had a tough matchup there with Weston Davis trying to handle him, and sometimes he certainly didn't. A couple times he did. But Nussmeier was tough, played physically, and made some plays, but he also made some really bad decisions. And he can't throw that interception at the goal line. That cannot happen. You've got the ball down there in scoring position. You're in a chance to take control of that game, and you can't just breathe life into South Carolina with a just misread completely. That safety was right in the middle of the field. It wasn't coming out of nowhere. It wasn't a tipped ball or a great play by the defense. It was just a safety. It was right there that he didn't see, and he makes a throw that you just can't make. But Brian Kelly, after a chance to look at the film on Sunday, came to the podium today and talked about the decision-making from Garrett Nussmeier back on Saturday.
We're trying to balance this. He plays with a swagger, and he's better with a swagger, right? Don't know that he had that the previous weeks. Thought he was a little bit robotic. And we said, listen, you needed to be Garrett Nussmeier. And he was. Unfortunately, some of that comes with some mistakes. I think that that's an aberration, the mistake that was in the red zone, and something that he would immediately say, I should have had my eyes on that safety, because that's my read. But I like the version of Garrett Nussmeier we saw. He was a lot more confident. He was a lot more active in the pocket. He had an opportunity to run a couple of times. That's the version we want. We want to clean up those, what I would call uncharacteristic mistakes.
And this is where the talk show host in me starts to really analyze. Because Brian Kelly is very, very demanding of his players. If you watch him on the sideline, he is lighting into people all the time. That doesn't make him unique in any way. It's just the way he's always coached. He's hard on his players. He demands greatness from them. And when he sees things he doesn't like on the field, he's not afraid to raise that tone of voice and get after somebody. And so when you have such a poor decision from such a veteran player, the fact that he would come to the microphone a couple days later and just have so much praise to heap on a fifth-year player who should know better than that is fascinating to me. Now, it may be a different tone behind closed doors. Maybe behind closed doors, he's saying, that's a ridiculous read, an awful throw, and you know better than that, and you have to be better than that. And then he comes into the media and is just changing the narrative a little bit and saying, yeah, we actually liked a lot of things we saw. We'll clean some of that stuff up, but he's maybe. It's probably an overanalyzation to me, but I just find it interesting that he's so demanding all the time. And if a true freshman makes that throw, well, yeah, you never made that read before, and it's too bad. You won the game, and you'll coach it. But a fifth-year senior making that mistake, to me, more often than not, is going to elicit a visceral reaction from a coach. And to have it, he was not even that mad after the game, and certainly on Monday, just kind of like, yeah, I think we'll get better. I certainly noticed that. I don't know what to make of it. But I certainly noticed the handling of that. Here's my take, and I wrote this in my column postgame. LSU did a little bit more in the running game on Saturday. They ran for 166 yards. They had 6 runs of over 15 yards. The defense played great. You had some really exciting things from Trey'Dez Green. Kyle Parker makes a great catch and run. Chris Hilton got open. Like, they did some good things. But ultimately, when you play the best teams on your schedule, when you play Texas A&M, when you play Bama, LSU is not going to have enough to win if Garrett Nussmeier doesn't play great. Like, they are not going to be able to get by against some of these teams if he completes 61% of his throws with 2 picks, which is what he did on Saturday. That number's got to be way closer to 70, and he can't throw picks, especially in the red zone. And that's not going to change. I think LSU can win some games with a mediocre run game. I think LSU can win some games if they don't force 5 interceptions against Florida. But LSU's going to struggle to win games if Nussmeier doesn't play great. And that's something that I'm pretty convicted in and something I think is going to play out over the course of the next month. They need him. They need 18, their fifth-year senior, the team captain, the quarterback, to play better than that. And I don't think that's news to Garrett Nussmeier. I don't think that's news to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's realistic. You heard him talk. He said in the bye week, hey, we got to work on some things in the running game, but like, we're not going to be a dominant running team. We've got to be better and more elite in the passing game, which is where we've got our talent. And he's talking about Garrett Nussmeier there. Joe Sloan's got to be better. The wide receivers got to be better. The tight ends have got to be better. The offensive line's got to pass block better, but Nussmeier has to be really good. That's the path for this team to win. It's the defense and the quarterback. That's it. And if you don't have one of those two, the defense has a bad day and gives up 36, you're going to lose. If the quarterback turns the ball over twice, once in the red zone, and is inaccurate, you're going to lose against the good teams. It's only cost you once, and 1 loss is okay. 2 losses is okay. But that's where it's got to stop. And for LSU to make sure that they achieve those things, the quarterback's got to play better than he did on Saturday. There are a lot of folks saying he looked healthier on Saturday. I'll agree with that tepidly. Like, I didn't think he got the deep ball out there to Chris Hilton far enough. It did hit Chris Hilton right in the hands, and he should have caught it. But I did think he had to slow up a little bit for it and brought the defense back closer to the point of the catch. That ball's out 4 yards further. I think it's a touchdown. You just got to have better throws, better plays from your quarterback. It's possible, but it's got to happen starting Saturday because I don't think LSU's going to hold Vanderbilt to 10 points. We'll see. That's a look at LSU football and their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, who finished Saturday night with 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 costly interceptions. All right, when we come back, Denton Day, college football overtime. What's going on with James Franklin at Penn State? Where do they go next? What's going on in Auburn with Hugh Freeze? What's going on in College Station? Texas A&M. How about USC? Big win. We'll talk about all that with Denton Day when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is on the line at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. A luxury brand at a reasonable price. A luxury brand at a reasonable price. That's Genesis of Baton Rouge. That's the model at Genesis. Get on by and see them. Every single vehicle on the line of vehicles, all of them, are an IHA top safety pick. Every single one. So you know when you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, whether it's sedan, SUV, no matter what, anywhere in between, you're getting into one of the safest cars on the road. So important to those with families. Like, you got to have a safe vehicle. Genesis promises that. They promise you an unbelievable staff, America's best warranty, and wonderful perks after the sale, like complimentary valet maintenance for 3 years, 36,000 miles. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Invite you to go see the dealership. It's on airline at PQ, or check them out online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's take our college football discussion to a national level. We'll chat with Denton Day, Sirius XM college football overtime every Friday and Saturday night for your college football weekends. Lots to get to today, so we'll bring him on via the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Denton, how are we doing?
I'm doing a lot better than a certain guy that was once the head coach at Penn State. I can tell you that, hon.
Well, he gets a fat check, so it just kind of depends on how you want to view that for sure. But it's a little shocking that we got this far this fast there in Happy Valley. What do you make of the last month for James Franklin?
I mean, it is stunning, honestly. 16 days, 17 days ago, whatever it was, Penn State had a game against Oregon, that if they won that game, the hype that had surrounded them the entire year would have been shot to the stratosphere in a way that I don't know has ever really surrounded Penn State. Like, they had some hype coming in, but winning Oregon would have taken that to the next level. And here we are now on a Monday sitting here, and he is no longer the coach of the team. Their quarterback is done. He's going to go get $50 million to basically sit and chill for a little bit, probably do like some media, maybe a year of media, then go back and coach. I mean, it's very, very stunning how quickly we got here, and I have not been able to fully understand why the decision was made now instead of waiting to the end of the year.
Did James Franklin do a good job at Penn State?
He did a great job at Penn State. I think, was he ever going to be a national championship coach? No, but he was not the immediate follow-up to Joe Paterno, but he did a phenomenal job taking a program that really should have been at the bottom of the barrel for a long time. You're not really supposed to survive the kind of thing that you went through with the whole Paterno-Sandusky thing. You're not supposed to survive that, and he took a program that should have been dead, and he resurrected it, led them in a really good direction. And as far as we know, at least now, they didn't really have a massive amount of off-the-field issues. He just couldn't win. But they were – I thought if you look at everything from a broad picture, he did a fantastic job at Penn State, he just was never going to be the guy that took them over the top to be a championship level team.
There's the saying, like, very good is the enemy of great, and every situation's different. And this is kind of what I've termed it as, like, sometimes, very rarely, you fire Mark Richt for being very good, and then you get Kirby Smart, who's great. But a lot of times, you fire Phil Fulmer, who's very good, and then you go through Derek Dooley and Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt and just mediocrity, just like they did in Austin, Texas, where you get rid of Mac Brown, and then all of a sudden you go through two coaches who couldn't figure anything out, and like you never know. You know it with James Franklin there that you're not going to fall off a cliff, which you could argue what has happened in the last 2 weeks, but that's a very small sample size. Like, what do you think is next for Penn State?
They're going to take a couple of big swings, and I don't know if they're going to connect on the big swings. If it was a couple years ago, it's a 14 playoff, and there was not massive amounts of now private equity money being funneled into particularly the Big Ten and the SEC, it would have made it a lot easier for them to go and get like a Kurt Cignetti or get like a Matt Rule. But now all of those programs have money. And Kurt Cignetti is obviously being rumored for this job for totally understandable reasons. But if I'm him, I just need 2 top 10 teams in a month. That's something that James Franklin and the Big Ten couldn't do in years. How much better is Penn State really than what I have going on right now? Because he has full autonomy. He can do whatever he wants. And with all this money coming in, the checks that he is going to be asking for, whether for his own contract or from boosters to pay for guys to come here, they're going to be fulfilled with no second thought. I mean, he got a quarterback. They just beat Oregon. They went on the road to beat Oregon. So I do think it's going to be a lot more difficult than Penn State fans think to go and get a guy that is going to want to come and coach there. I mean, if you love Matt Rule, congratulations. But I don't know, like in 2025, 2026, is that the solution? A guy that has had good runs at a couple programs, but it's not like Matt Rule has been a world beater over the course of his career. He's been really, really good, but again, kind of the same. I would put him, if we're doing tiers, hon, I'm putting Matt Rule in a very similar tier to that of James Franklin, so it doesn't feel like that's a massive upgrade to me.
In this like line of thinking, like if Florida comes open, Penn State's open right now, and kind of we'll see what else is there. Like, is Eli Drinkwitz going to be on some of these lists?
I definitely think you will. I think if you are Penn State and then potentially Florida, it's in your due diligence to at least call Eli Drinkwitz. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. I know they lost this weekend, but he's done a really good job. Hit the portal hard, got their quarterback. He's built a nice program there. I think you should be calling anybody that has done a really good job taking a program that traditionally at best was a mid-card level or lower down the card in a particular conference, the way the Missouri was and the way, kind of the Georgia Tech was, although I don't know if Key really fits, offensively what they're trying to do at Penn State. But I think you should be calling anybody that could take a program that was bad and make it good, because that is impressive. And especially if you are Florida, Penn State and Florida in different positions, obviously. But if you're like Florida, I think you should be looking at those guys and be like, what's it going to take to get you over here so you can do that to us?
Let's go over to the West Coast. Look, USC just big boyed Michigan for 4 quarters. How big a deal was that?
That was probably the biggest win that Lincoln Riley has had since the days of certainly since the days of Caleb Williams. Maybe the biggest win that he's had at USC. I think that was really important. One, it cemented themselves as a team that is on the road to potentially double-digit wins. Now, a lot of games you got to make sure you're actually winning these games. You got to win them on the field, not on paper. But it puts them in a position to where the college football playoff is very much open for them. I think it takes Michigan out of that conversation, but it puts them now in a position to where if Lincoln Riley can do what he was paid to do, which is get them back to relevance, I do think there is a road for them to get to the playoff, which I did not think was going to happen at the beginning of the year.
I've kind of buried the lead here. Let's go back. Kirk Cignetti, Indiana. What does Saturday mean for them?
That is a championship. That not just a championship level team, because I kind of thought all you really have to do is be a top 12, maybe top 10, and be a championship level team. That is a legitimate championship contender. And as crazy as this sounds, I do think there's like a small thought process in Columbus. They're very happy they don't have to play them in the regular season. They do everything really, really well. I thought the way they were able to create pressure against a really good Oregon offensive line was the most impressive element of that game. They got a quarterback in Mendoza They're talented, not uber talented on the outside the way that Ohio State is, but they're talented. They got guys that can make plays. They can run the football. That team does everything really, really well. And Cignetti, in another opportunity against the top 10 team, this one in a really tough environment in Oregon and Eugene, he did not get ahead of himself the way that we have seen other coaches do in the past. I think that team's excellent. They're deserving to be number 3 overall. And I think if you want to sell me on Indiana winning the championship hunt, it's not going to be the most difficult sell that you've ever had.
Denton Days, our guest, college football overtime Fridays and Saturdays, Sirius XM. How worried do I need to be about Texas A&M making a deep run in this thing?
Maybe a little bit more worried than I kind of thought we would be a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they just find ways to win. I don't know that I've watched them this year and thought, wow, this team is awesome, but they just win football games, and they are one of the few SEC teams that has the benefit of not having this disastrous schedule the way that like a Florida does, or kind of like an Alabama does, like an Oklahoma does. They're on the good side of that conversation. I think if you are a adamant hater of Texas A&M, I think you should be worried, because unless they royally screw things up, I don't know how they're not one of the final 12.
I agree. I said that last week, and certainly still believe it. If they just rolled in the second half of that game against Florida on Saturday, we'll see. They got to come to Tiger Stadium at night 2 weeks from now, so we'll see how that goes. You mentioned Alabama, we mentioned Missouri as well, but what'd you make of that win? Tide get out of there alive by 3.
Ty Simpson's really good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really good. I don't know that I would say at the absolute worst, he's a top 3 quarterback right now in college football. I thought some of the throws he made, that 4th down throw was a sensational. I mean, that's a Sunday level throw. There was one of the touchdown passes that he threw. I think it was his second one, the 16-yarder in the back of the end zone. I mean, that was a kind of splitting. Honestly, it's a throw that I've seen a particular quarterback that used to play in Baton Rouge that now is playing tonight in the NFL. I've seen him make that a couple of different times. That's a high-level throw right down the seam that Ty Simpson made. So I think he is a really, really good player. They still have some flaws. I don't necessarily love some of the other things they do offensively. I think the running game could be a little bit better. I think defensively they're not as stout as we are accustomed to seeing Alabama be. But Ty Simpson is really good, and we know if you have a good quarterback, he'll take you a long way.
Georgia kind of finds a way there. Craziness and chaos on the plains at Auburn. Hugh Freeze and his team can't catch a break. But I just feel like Georgia's okay for their standard, but that's been enough to get these wins the last couple of weeks.
I don't like being a blame the officiating guy, but the officiating in that game
was bad.
It was bad to the point where just as a viewer of the game, I was like, wow, can we get to some replays here? Can we not have a single replay? Take 10 minutes, and generally speaking, I want the call right, so I don't mind replay, like it should be right, but that one took forever. I mean, there was a point, I was timing it, 6 plays took 20 some odd minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not a fun game to watch, and it distracts most people from the fact that, as you mentioned, Georgia is just fine. They just escape games that I don't know that Auburn should have beat them because they completely rolled over in the second half. I don't think they responded to some of those weird officiating decisions well. But I don't look at Georgia and think that's an awesome team. I think they have a quarterback that's still exceptionally limited. The running game seems optional at times for them, and defensively they're good, not great. So I do think once they start to play really, really good teams, we've already seen that with Alabama, once they start to play really good teams, they're going to get exposed, but Auburn is not a really good team, so they were not exposed this weekend.
Well, the host, number 5, Ole Miss, who's unbeaten, but Vegas doesn't seem to think that that's a really, really good team because the spread on that game on Monday here, 7.5, Georgia is favored. That surprised me just a little bit.
Oh, Lord.
How do you see?
That is oh, God. I'm going to have to bet Georgia. I'm going to have to. I can't see that spread and think, oh, yeah, Vegas clearly knows something. Ole Miss is a team that did not look good.
No, they didn't.
This weekend. I thought after a bye that they would come out and just dominate Washington State, and it was into the third quarter where I'm sending texts to people trying to potentially line up an interview with Washington State, which I didn't think I was going to be doing this weekend. Yeah. So they did not look very good at all. I still like Trinidad Chambliss, but I think Ole Miss, I was a little over the top on them when they beat LSU, and I was like, this is Lane's year. He's doing all these things really, really, really well. I think I jumped the gun a little bit there. They'll still make it more likely than not, but I don't know that they're nearly as good as I thought they were.
Third Saturday in October, Tennessee headed to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama, top 15 game there. Alabama is an 8.5-point favorite in that game. How do you feel about it?
I think Alabama is going to cover yet again. I think, again, it comes back to Ty Simpson. And, Joey Aguilar is a good quarterback, and, Tennessee does some really fun things offensively, but I don't know that they can stay in it with a really, really competent team on the other side. And Alabama is a really, really competent team. So I do think Alabama is going to come out on top of that one. That number is a big number in this kind of rivalry game, but it's that big for a reason. So I might be – usually I start to make some bets on Wednesday, just to kind of let the lines kind of chill out a little bit, because sometimes they're just ridiculous on Saturdays or on Sundays rather, and Monday. But I imagine that I'm going to be playing Alabama this weekend.
USC headed to South Bend coming off that big win. This is another big number, 8.5. Notre Dame is favored over Lincoln Riley's Trojans.
The winner of this game is going to likely end up in the college football playoff, and the loser of this game is likely not. And I am, for probably the first time since he has taken the job at USC, I think I'm rooting for USC. I'm kind of done with Notre Dame this year. I'm good, man. Like I like Jeremiah Love a lot. CJ Carr's fine. I don't need to do. I think absence makes the heart grow fonder. If we're sitting here in late December and I'm not thinking about Notre Dame, I think I'll like Notre Dame a little bit more. So they can be absent for a year. I want to see USC in there just to kind of see what Lincoln Riley can do this year in the college football playoff. I do think USC takes down Notre Dame.
Let's talk about the home team here. LSU is headed up to Vanderbilt for brunch, an 11 a.m. kickoff Central Time. That game started Vanderbilt -1.5. It's been bet up to Vanderbilt -2.5. You like Diego Pavia and company to beat LSU?
I do not. I think I'm way off the Vanderbilt story. I know everybody in the SEC kind of loves them a little bit. I'm good. I'm all Vanderbilt. And I know offensively, I'm sure you talked about this, you still have a little bit to be desired when watching them, but I thought the run game was really good. So maybe this weekend is when they finally put everything together and they showcase the offense that we've been hoping that they're going to be this entire year.
Yeah, the 20 points on Saturday was disappointing. The way they got there looked better than 20 points, but ultimately it's how many points you put on the scoreboard. They need to clean it up. 2 turnovers literally at the 1-yard line. But you gotta. They did some things better over the weekend against a bad South Carolina team. But we'll see. LSU and Vanderbilt, 11 o'clock on ABC, coming up on Saturday. Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime with you Fridays and Saturdays in the evenings here on Monday afternoon. Thank you, man.
Hunt, appreciate it as always. Jaden Daniels, 2 touchdowns tonight. Book it.
We like that. Jaden on the field tonight against the Chicago Bears. We'll be watching here from Baton Rouge. I'll give you a thought on that game when we come back, and we'll close it out on this Monday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you're looking for a new shower because you've got this big tub that you don't use that was put in the 80s or 90s, and they were doing those huge jacuzzis, and you don't have any interest in that, but you might like a brand new, gorgeous walk-in shower, David Duvall and One Bath and Closets do tub-to-shower conversions all the time. They can do it from soup to nuts, as David says. They can handle your floors. They can handle the restoration of your vanities. They can put in a new shower. They can take out a shower, add a closet in the bathroom. All these things are well within their purview, and it doesn't have to be a 2-month process with just tons and tons and tons of expenses. It could be something 3 to 5 days with a tub-to-shower conversion. David and his team are happy to talk to you about that. It's One Bath and Closets. Find it all online at onebathandclosets.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wallflowers.
Okay, I'm actually impressed that you knew that one.
Nice. Come on.
I did play it twice in a row because I didn't have anything ready.
That's okay. All good.
You don't care as much as Jake and Matt do.
I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Wow, you don't appreciate my work? Got it.
I didn't say
I'll
that.
never do this show again.
Isn't there a huge signing bonus that comes with doing this show? Don't you get Matt tens of thousands of dollars?
If there is,
you just missed that
I don't
out.
know about it.
It's like me when we had those remotes and I gave away gift cards that were intended for me for like 4 years.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think I gave away that was intended for me. I think I gave away $3,000 in groceries to Rouse's that was supposed to be for me. I think. So that's good.
You got kids too.
Yeah. So that's good.
Oh no.
Hope the good folks that I gave those gift cards out for their
Yeah.
their various wins of gear enjoyed that because I sure gave it away. My bad. All right, let's play Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Had a couple watching the Saints yesterday from the fridge. Cold, refreshing, light, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
Take it or leave it. Going a little off script here. Carving pumpkins.
Leave it. I don't want to do it. Anyone else can do it. It's one of those deals like
Oh wait, you
I'm
have
not
one
going
of
to be
these,
able.
right?
I'm not going to be able to make one that looks good anyway. I have no
Leave it
artistic
alone.
ability at all. So like,
Yeah.
I'm good if they want to do it. I'll just go watch the football game. And they did. There's a bunch, like 20 of them were carving pumpkins yesterday. I watched the Saints game.
All right. Take it or leave it. Game 1 of the NLCS tonight. The Dodgers will take down the Brewers. Take it or leave it.
Hopefully take it, but I don't care. I can't. I'm not emotionally mature enough. I'm not a good enough sport to watch that series. I can't. I can watch the American League. I cannot watch the Brewers play the Dodgers.
That's understandable.
This is a line.
It's like evil versus evil. For you.
It's a line my mom has said many, many times. It doesn't bring me joy. Watching that series is not going to bring me joy, so why would I do that? I'm not going to do it.
That's fair.
I'm not mature enough to. If you're a mature person, you would say, "Oh, great job by the Brewers, wonderful job by them. Best of luck in the next round." Me, the immature person, says, "I hate you.
Yeah.
I hope you lose, but I'm not watching."
And you're going to accuse them of cheating as well.
I might. That's perfectly within the reasonable expectation for me.
Super reasonable. Task on HBO. Take it or leave it.
Take it. Very good. My wife and I are watching. Mark Ruffalo. It's good. It's about Philly cops, drugs, types of things, and we're like 4 episodes in. We're enjoying. I do recommend.
Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. Jaden takes down Caleb again tonight. Take it or leave it. This has so many implications for me.
Yeah,
personally.
I'm going to leave it. I think the Bears are going to win. I just
Leave it
don't.
alone.
I'm not feeling the juju from Commanders right now. Like, I know they went out and beat the Chargers. That is a good win, but the Chargers haven't played as good. I think the Bears are playing a little bit better the last 2 weeks. Maybe not. It could be completely wrong. But I'm pulling for Jaden. I hope they win. I'll be watching, but I kind of like the Bears tonight. That's it for this Monday edition Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's about to drive you home next on After Further Review. I'm going to go watch LSU practice basketball a little bit. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place for a Tuesday edition of Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally